All right, so today we're going to be talking about the large-scale cyber attack that Anthropic had to stop that, according to them, was sponsored by a Chinese state group. So, yeah, you want to give your thoughts and then I'll give some of my thoughts on this? I know you had a question you wanted to ask too, so you can ask that.
Yeah, I have not used Claude, and I am assuming that means that AI agents are here to stay because my first thought was I didn't even know that you could use Claude or GPT or any of these models for that kind of autonomous work.
Yeah, so, well, it kind of brings up the definition of AI agents a little bit because I feel like the definition of AI agents is kind of broad. It's just uh, AI models that have access to tools and can do things autonomously. And if you create, I don't know, custom GPTs, or I'm not exactly sure what the equivalent would be on Claude. I know there's what they call artifacts, but that's more coding, I think. So I'm not totally sure, but if you create those, and there's also, oh man, what's it called? Anyways, there's something on OpenAI where you can literally create specific agents. So yeah, agents are definitely here to stay because they have infiltrated lots of different software, not in a bad way, but I'm saying everyone wants to have an AI agent. No matter what AI software you go to, it's like, we have AI agents for you, we have AI agents for this or that or whatever. So they're definitely here to stay for a long time, and that's why this makes it a little more scary about what happened with Anthropic.
Yeah, in my mind, when this article describes Claude being used for hacking into, I think it was 30 different organizations or attempting to do so, it makes me think that these agents are using Claude as autonomously. Like that's to me seems like a bigger heft than what I thought I could just do by logging into the Claude AI and having it do tasks for me. Like to me, that's a pretty sustained and long effort compared to what I thought would be capable. But I've not used Claude, so now
They
I'm
probably
thinking
have
maybe
a
I should use
high
Claude.
paying tier. They probably paid for a high tier and then used that tier to hack into different companies.
Yeah, that was the other thing I thought, which was can you? This is OpenAI, right? Claude is OpenAI.
No, Claude is Anthropic.
Oh, that's right. That's Anthropic. Because in my head, I was like, why aren't you running some sort of local model from a server space in wherever you rent it in some other country? Why would you pay? I was thinking OpenAI, but that makes sense. Anthropic to use their native one. Like it just seemed, I don't know.
Yeah, why not just use DeepSeek? Because that's in China already.
Yeah, is this a weird admitting that DeepSeek isn't as good?
I guess. Yeah, so I was thought it was interesting the way that they did it, which Anthropic said that there was minimal human intervention and interaction in this whole thing. Basically, the human decided who the targets were. The AI agent went and like reviewed the different targets to find any high value databases, and then the human reviewed their review. No, they like approved different things, and then the AI agents went and tried to start hacking into the system, which is insane because as I know we talked about AI 2027 in a previous podcast, and as we get into the age of superintelligence, this is only going to get worse. And so it's the malicious actors within AI that are honestly the most scary for like the rise of AI and how much faster it's being trained, and potentially how much faster it can train itself, which I think is not a good idea. But it might just be what happens because people are trying to push boundaries and like push forward innovation without necessarily questioning whether it should happen or not. So yeah, that's just, to me, the biggest danger that I can see is the people who are not going to use AI for good, but then we continue to make AI faster and better without realizing what other people, what they can do with that new technology. So I don't know. Like I'm a fan of AI. Obviously, I use it all the time, and I help other people
No,
use it.
you're antediluvian. You hate it.
But I don't know. There's definitely a line there that I think we might be crossing right now with how powerful AI is and what it can do autonomously too.
Right. I don't understand the IT portion of it well enough to know if it's even a possibility. But in my mind, I'm thinking, is there some, we're going to have to start working in, safeguards is probably the wrong term, but like specific human length pauses in how quickly you can send and receive data to some endpoint over the internet. Kind of like they do with passwords, where you can put one in and then there's a 1 second or half a second pause. So like you can literally only try so many passwords in a given time because they intentionally slow down the hardware.
I mean, that's a good idea, but I do like that idea. Depends on how long the pause is, because if it's like 5
And how much data you're trying to transfer.
Yeah. But that might be a good option. I don't know. It's crazy. Well, it's not crazy that it was. Anthropic said that it's not. Sorry. It's not crazy that Anthropic said it was a Chinese state-sponsored group, because China is already doing very sketchy things, and AI is just enhancing that capability. So I think there definitely needs to be some guardrails there to slow things down. But they can still use AI agents. They'll just tell them like, hey, wait 2 seconds before you try it again. But you go do it and try it 1,000 times over the next day, which means that they're still going to be able to use AI agents. And the AI agent is trained on a lot of data, which means that it knows more about the security vulnerabilities than any human could. At some point, it will have that knowledge. So
Yeah, it can test through all the vulnerabilities
yeah,
faster than a human can.
it's crazy. I actually read it on a newsletter yesterday. That's where I saw the article.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the other thing is, I wonder if it's like our discussion on talking to clients at your job or whatever, where is it going to all have to move to a secured portal where they have a password, they log in with their credentials, they have a password specific to the thing, it has multi-factor authentication, so it's not a surefire, but you know that like basically the client had to be murdered and all their stuff stolen in order for them to get on their portal and talk to you. Our website's going to become like that, where it's like, these are the whitelisted websites, and everything else you have to like contact the company and they'll send you a user key, and you can only log into that website with this user key. I don't know.
Yeah, what was really interesting about this was they did a specific kind of hijacking of Claude where they split up their big hacking tasks into really, really, really small, innocent-looking tasks to hijack Claude to actually do the hacking itself, even though normally, it would say like, hey, I can't do that. That's against the rules of my model. Mm-hmm. But they were able to trick it by breaking down one big task into like 100 smaller tasks that didn't seem so bad, which then I think individuals, like there needs to, that just shows that you can trick these AI models, like any of them, Claude, Perplexity, ChatGPT, if you just break the task down into small enough pieces to get it to do whatever you want. So,
And if you were totally incapable of that, you run the risk of making your model somewhat useless. It has to be flexible enough to change with whatever your requests are, but with that is the danger of, oh, you can pretty much manipulate it into doing whatever you want it to do.
yeah.
All I know is it just makes me mad that when I'm in QuickBooks, the QuickBooks AI still can't figure out that for the 100th time, Speedway is fuel.
That's true.
These people are using this stuff like as a replacement for humans, and I can't get QuickBooks to do something that I've told it to do 100 times.
Yeah, and when you try to put in invoices or something, it pulls like the name, and that's it. I'm like, really? You can't make it a little better, like an amount and maybe a contact, like an email or something?
Right. Whatever.
Yeah, I would say.
Have you messed around with Claude's taking control of your computer and doing tasks for you?
Oh no, I haven't. I've tested the OpenAI web agent, but it's not on my computer. I mean, it's not on my browser. It opens up its own browser within ChatGPT, so I felt a little bit more comfortable with that.
Mm-hmm.
It is gonna probably be a little bit before I'm willing to let an AI agent take over my entire browser, because and again, I'm into AI, so obviously like I'm on the front end of a lot of innovation, just trying stuff, but that's totally different level of control, versus, me typing in an input and it giving me an output, actually controlling my browser. That's just, again, that's like a level of control I'm not sure if I'm willing to give up right now until they've proven that they can handle things well and not get hijacked, their prompts. Not get hijacked, because you don't know what's going to get downloaded from your computer if you're just letting an AI agent run and then someone hijacks it.
That sounds like a good experiment to try on an old computer that you don't care about and not logged into your stuff.
Yeah. One big question that Anthropic brought up, and I want to hear your thoughts on this, is if AI models can be misused like this in such a large scale way, then should we continue to develop and release new versions? And
I don't think we even get to ask that question, because it's going to happen whether you think it's a good idea or not.
Yes, although, I mean, China will probably do it no matter what. But the big companies like Perplexity and Claude, or Perplexity and Anthropic, and OpenAI, all those, Microsoft, Google, do you think that they should be allowed, not saying you can really do anything about it, but do you think they should continue to release new versions and develop new versions that are faster and stronger and smarter in the next generation? No.
I have no clarity on if that's a good idea or not. There's my answer. Sorry, that's not a satisfactory answer. I don't know. I sometimes I think that I actually wrote a response. I sent you a text that somebody sent me a video, and it was pretty doomy about markets and how they're investing in each other's stuff, like the tech companies, and it's going to be a worse bubble than 1929, et cetera, et cetera. And so I started writing down some of my thoughts, and now I'm 1,500 words into writing down some of my thoughts. And I started off by saying, here is what contributed to the development of my current disposition in regards to catastrophic events, or prognosticating about catastrophic events. And it was basically, I grew up and it felt like I was around several people for whom they thought something terrible was imminent. And almost all of those never came to pass. And of the things that did come to pass, they weren't as catastrophic as whoever was prognosticating.
Well, if you say there's going to be a recession every year of your life, there's
Exactly.
bound to be at least one that you're right about.
Yes. I actually, like 2 weeks ago, I started writing a letter to colleagues, and in it, I opened up with, I don't want to be one of those people that, economists that accurately predicted 10 of the last 2 recessions. But, yeah, so when people are like, AI is going to be the death of everything, I'm like, well, I don't know. This could be the one time that is true. It could also not be true. The atom bomb was like a similar idea. So, I don't know. From a practical standpoint, I'm not sure should is an answerable question. I don't feel like I have enough data to say should we do it. But I do like the idea of having AI. I think it'll make everything way faster.
Yeah, it already has. One part of the reason why I brought the question up though is because it's actually the abilities that allow people to use Claude and ChatGPT and stuff to create these attacks are the abilities that help us stop these attacks and other attacks. So I think that as long as we're, being safe with deployment, at least as far as we can control, and we're setting guardrails to allow for AI to help with security, then I think it's okay, but we always need to be careful. It's when we start, pushing boundaries and then not questioning whether it should happen. That's the problem. Which sometimes it seems like some companies can do that. Although I did see an article recently that said OpenAI was calling for some controls on superintelligence. I mean, we're not there yet. We're not to superintelligence yet, but when we get there, they call for controls. So I respect that, because that, as long as they're actually genuine, then I think that's a good thing.
What define for me what is considered superintelligence? Because I know there's some differences in general intelligence or general, what is it? Now I can't even remember. General
AGI.
AI intelligence.
Yeah.
Yeah, adjusted gross income. Oh.
So this is according to IBM. What is artificial superintelligence? And it says ASI, which is different than AGI, because the AGI is artificial general intelligence. Artificial superintelligence is a hypothetical software-based artificial intelligence system with an intellectual scope beyond human intelligence. So it's once AI can perform human tasks and can perform tasks higher than a human level. So
Gotcha.
At the most fundamental level, this super intelligent AI has cutting-edge cognitive functions and highly developed thinking skills, more advanced than any human. So it's once AI is smarter, faster, stronger, better than all humans ever. Which, yeah. We're not there yet, I don't think, but we're getting closer and closer to that point. Which is a little bit scary.
The one thing that I go back to that I don't think AI will probably ever be capable of, but I could be wrong, is I don't think it will be as creative as humans are, ever. Simply because, even just from a practical standpoint, humans are really good at serendipitous invention or serendipitous ideas, like in the transition between doing this thing and that thing in the space that your brain is transitioning. Humans are really good at getting ideas in that space, and there's no use for an AI to have transition time. Like, in the time that your brain is not specifically processing this problem or this problem, you've got this weird space in which new ideas can happen, synthesizing two things or more things that are totally unrelated. And I think that's critical to human creativity. And by definition, AIs only know what they know. There's that. I'm sure people are working on AIs for creating new things, but definitionally, you've just input ideas into the thing, and it's putting together existing ideas and swishing them around a little bit to come up with new stuff. And I think that also the human's ability to, like, we have lots of background ideas, but abilities to be like, oh, that was novel, maybe that's a good idea, is also very helpful.
Yeah. No, I mean, that makes sense. They've done some logic tests, which is not the exact same as, like, thinking of new ideas, but the AIs failed those logic tests because they were more built on, like, programmatic, algorithmic, decision making versus you kind of have to make assumptions when you're taking logic tests, but, like, logical assumptions, and the AI is not really good at that. So, I mean, yeah, maybe at some point, but I do think you're right. It will be very tough for AI to be creative. Even generative AI, which is AI that generates new content, is just creating new content out of old content. It's not really new content necessarily. It's just...
Plus, if you're asking it to do something, that's not really how the creative process works in humans either.
True.
Because many times you don't know what you want. An idea just synthesizes itself out of the workings of past memories that you have.
Yeah.
It's like the whole graphic designers being like, I'm never going to lose my job because that would require the client to actually know what they want before I start giving them ideas.
Well, I mean, that's been my thought. Some people like when I talk to people about AI, they ask specifically about graphic designers because, AI can create images and stuff. And I said, I don't think that graphic designers are going to be replaced. I think that graphic designers who don't know how to use AI are going to be replaced, and the graphic designers who do know how to use AI are going to make way more money because they can help so many people so much faster and create designs so quickly and just prototype and iterate as fast as they need to, or as fast as, like, AI will create an image, which is really fast now. So, yeah, I would agree with you. I just agree with you, I think you have some good thoughts.
Well, that is the sign of intelligence, is agreeing with me.
So I'm, like, super intelligent. Well, I guess super intelligent.
Yeah, super intelligent. Are you an AI?
Yeah, I was actually teaching. Well, I mean, part of the reason why this article is interesting to me is because I'm focused on trying to help businesses use AI responsibly, and so creating their own values framework. And this is a little different than the companies who are actually, like, training the AI and building the AI themselves. But companies, like small businesses, should have at least some idea of what they are willing and not willing to do with AI ethically. And so I was teaching the AI class at the entrepreneurship school yesterday, and it was really interesting because I brought up a couple scenarios about, like, should you do this, should you do that, and then there was one that was an employee performance review scenario where the AI took all the data from that what the fictional employee's history over the last year or whatever, created an employee performance review draft, and then in the scenario the manager didn't take a look at it and just like either sent it or just went over it with the employee, but it was kind of blunt and negative and discouraging, and so the employee was discouraged after the employee performance review. That kind of goes along with the whole creativity thing, because just in terms of the AI can't see things that are outside of algorithms, right? So let's say someone is underperforming. There could be an outside reason that the AI doesn't really think about. Like if their best friend, got sick or got cancer, or one of their parents died or something, like that's a totally outside of work type of thing that's not in the metrics, but that as a human totally affects the work that you do. Mm-hmm. And so there were people going back and forth in the class. One was a little more like, yeah, let's let AI do more of it. One was saying, let's not let AI do as much of, and this was about the employee review specifically, but I just think it's a good illustration of how AI is really good when it comes to something that it's either one or the other, but when it comes to like taking in a lot more ambiguous data, AI is not that good. And so that's why there's still a need for human interaction and human approval. I just thought it was a really interesting case study, and it was funny that people were disagreeing, so I just let them communicate back and forth and be like, well, I think this, and then someone else was like, well, I mean, I kind of think this way. And they were totally respectful, but it was interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. In that scenario, it was like the questionnaire going to AI and AI doing a write-up. Like what was the hypothetical scenario that was happening?
So the scenario that I read to them, which there's probably could be more details, but managers often dread writing performance reviews, so leadership tests an AI tool that generates drafts from notes and key metrics. So I'm assuming some of the notes are probably written by the manager. Like they weren't in today, or they left early today, whatever. The AI writes reviews quickly, but in one case its wording comes across as blunt and negative, leaving an employee discouraged. The manager admits they skimmed and approved without rephrasing. So I'm assuming the AI, well, in this scenario, I was thinking the AI did the write-up and the manager kind of sent it to them without really reviewing it. The questions were, how much should AI shape feedback on people, and where's the line between drafting versus human approval? But I think the whole scenario just illustrates the point of AI is not, in my opinion, AI doesn't have all the facts, because some of the facts are ambiguous, and you can't, it's not black and white like an AI is. Like AI is this, what's the probability of this, so yeah.
And sometimes the process of doing a thing for a human is as much about learning as it is about producing. AI is great at producing. It's not necessarily good at the learning. It's like the whole writing in school. Once you're going to spit out a paper that nobody cares about and nobody reads. But the point is you wrote. You took a topic in a linear fashion and found resources and put them together. It's supposed to help you think, not to produce something that you're going to care about in 2 years.
Although now no one does it anyways, because they just use it.
True. Yeah. Yes.
And that's another thing. As good, which is your whole point. It's not as good because AI is not a human, and plus they're not learning. I think that's the critical point. I wish somebody would have really pounded it in my brain in school, basically being like, you're going to produce garbage. But the point about it is that you're going to produce garbage, we're going to give you feedback, and then you are going to produce better garbage. And
the process of iteratively going over something that you wrote is to learn to think better. That's it. That's the main reason you're doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Because, yeah, and I would need to know that now, because if I can just put my prompts in and spit out a paper or an essay and send it, you're right. There's no learning in that. Don't get me started on message boards. Post 2 forum things this week. I thought your point was really good about blah, 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 but have you considered, etc., etc., etc.?
Oh, man. Yeah, those discussions, I hated discussions.
They're terrible and useless.
And they were
totally useless.
Respond to one other person. And I was like, okay, I'm going to write the most generic response ever.
Yep. Back to the sort of learning by doing thing, I heard somebody mention searching for a home is a similar thing. You think you know what you want, you have certain criteria, but then as you go looking, you find different price points and different things that you're like, oh, I do end up hating that, or I actually don't mind this so much. And so the act of looking is recursive because you're refining as you see what's available. Whereas an AI, if I just pop in one time and say, find me houses that do this, it's going to filter out a bunch of things that I don't even know that I want, but I possibly could want.
Unless you told AI to filter out the things that, based on your extensive knowledge of me after all our conversations, filter out things that you think I wouldn't want and then keep things that you think I would want, and then make sure that there's some edge cases where maybe I would want this and you don't know, so you're just going to pull it in anyways. Just kidding, that wouldn't work. I was
going to say, in which case, you might as well just do a Google.
True that. Although there is the question of quality versus quantity. Like, do you want to spend that much time, or do you want to get a house that's 80% of what you want? Which, I mean, you're probably going to get anyways.
Well, yeah. I think my point is, you and most humans don't know what you want.
Yeah.
There are some things in life that people have a really good idea of what they want. But I was telling my coworker that of the big things in my life, truly the only thing that turned out almost exactly what I wanted was my wife. Everything else has been like, I think I want this thing, and then I get there, and what I actually wanted was slightly different than the thing that I thought that I wanted. Well, like going to Purdue, I thought I wanted electrical engineering, and I tried very hard to force myself into that mold. And people are like, when you're describing this, I think what you want is engineering technology. And I'm like, no. I want engineering. Those technologists are so, that's like second-rate engineering. And then when I took the technology classes, I was like, oh, these are actually really interesting. This is a lot of fun. Yeah, that's actually true. I just don't know what I want.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to have only one thing that turns out.
Yeah, that's exactly.
the best thing.
Right. Good. I absolutely agree with you.
Well, do you have anything else?
I have nothing else. No words to say.
No.
But people should send us email at jc.unscripted@gmail.com.
They should. And one last thing that I just want to end with is kind of like what we said in a previous episode, but be careful with the software you use. And make sure you have guardrails on your use of AI, because just because we can does not always mean that we should. So that's the pod.